G'day everyone, welcome back to season 2024 of the Rem and Gordo show. The final series is here, Gordo. How good?
Yeah, it's great to be here again for 2024. It's been a while. Again, we've been contemplating whether to jump on and do this again, but Here we are.
We're here, we're back. That's the main thing. So we'll get into it. What a season it was on a whole. Just a quick home and away series. What a season.
Yeah, pretty unpredictable. You felt like there was at least 14 teams that were a real chance of making the finals.
100% agree.
Yeah, a few of the teams like West Coast and Richmond sort of hanging around the bottom. They'll be back up again, you feel. But yeah, lots of good teams this year, and it sort of came down to who was the best on the day.
Yeah, 100% agree. It was a topsy-turvy season where no standout team for the whole 25, 26 weeks.
Apart from Sydney.
Apart from Sydney for a good chunk, but not the whole season. So, yeah, injuries and health was a real factor at stages during the year. But we've got the top 8, that's the main thing, and now we'll get into the finals games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So on Thursday night, we've got Port versus Geelong. So you feel like they're two teams with lots of unknowns heading into this matchup, second versus third. Port's strength, you think, lies in its midfield. The likes of Butters and Rosie, whether they can get on top early. They've got chances to outclass Geelong in the centre bounce. So if Geelong can get repeat stoppages and clog up that space and limit the impact of those Port mids, you feel like they're going to have a better chance of winning this match.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Geelong, they're a genuine danger to Port, I reckon here. Port have a lot of pressure on them to win this game.
Yeah.
If they win it, they get another prelim final
at
their home ground in Adelaide in front of a home crowd.
Yeah.
You don't want to be travelling there as an away team. So Geelong, really great chance of winning this one against Port. Who knows what can happen.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I'm keen to see the result of that one because if Port have to go interstate in that prelim, that's going to be very difficult to get to the granny if they did have a home semi and got through. So
that's it. Yeah,
very interesting.
Almost a knockout for Port.
Yeah,
this one. You reckon they could be out in straight sets?
I agree.
Watch for Horn Francis. I reckon he's got a bit of Petrarca energy from.
100% agree. He's going to learn from the semi-final loss last year and that qualifying final loss. I think he's going to be a standout player for Port.
Yeah, just his burst and his scoring potential make him a real threat for Geelong in this one. For the Cats, you think that Danger and Cameron probably need to stand up again. Unfortunately, unlikely to be a full rounded performance from everyone.
Yeah.
If Danger and Cameron have a good game, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, just what you said about the midfield, I think it's really important Geelong break even if there's any chance in this game because that young midfield could get a bit nervous in finals because there's not as much finals experience like Ollie Dempsey and Tanner Broom, these types of players. If they haven't had that finals experience, maybe it's going to be a bit too much at stages, but they've got to learn to break even because Port's a classy team in that midfield.
I agree, yeah. All right, moving on. Friday night.
Friday night. So we've got the Bulldogs and the Hawks at the MCG. So really interesting game, this one. Game of the round for me, I reckon. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks happening at the MCG, in that forward line especially for the Bulldogs. If they can get it in there, as the inside 50 count needs to be high in order for them to win, I think. More chances the likes of Darcy, Ugelhagen and Norton get. I think it's going to be really hard for the Hawks to be able to win this game. In saying that though, Hawthorn's small forward brigade and the quick ball movement they've been able to do in the second half of the year in particular is going to be a real struggle for Bulldogs, I think, at stages in this game on the wide MCG. The run and carry that Hawks can present is really dangerous.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the loss of Will Day is really going to, unfortunately, hurt Hawthorn at stages. He's a really good machine in that midfield. And Bulldogs, if they're any chance to run over the top in like a blowout, I think it's going to be on the back of their midfield. The likes of Bond, Treloar, and these types of players, they need to be able to win that centre clearance dominance to be able to give their forwards a chance. In saying that though, Hawthorn, as I said, it needs to start in the midfield as well. You need to be able to win those centre clearances, but also they've got that advantage on half-back. The likes of Jarman Impey and Josh Weddle, they can run that ball through the centre of the ground or the wings and get it into their forward targets like Gunston, Chol and these types of players. So it'll be really interesting. I'm really not sure how it's going to go the first half compared to the second half, especially because last time they met it was only a 7-point win to Hawthorn, so it was a real topsy-turvy game. I think we're going to get something similar.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
I think watch the Hawthorn spread. You saw a graphic from Fox Footy. Credit to them for their vision of Hawthorn using the entire MCG. I think it's a real disadvantage that the Bulldogs have to come up against them on the G. But you've got to win a premiership on the MCG.
You have to win it there, don't you?
Yeah, you can't play every game at Marvel or Mars Stadium and keep winning there. You have to win on the G. And I think this is the first of many tests for Bulldogs if they are to win this one.
Yeah, just on that, Gord, I think it's a bit similar to Geelong, the GMHBA factor, home ground, whether you finish above and still have to play. I think it's something the AFL probably could look at in the future in terms of equalisation of the finals fixture, instead of just having these contracts in place where we have to play certain fixtures at certain grounds.
Yeah, possibly. Things bigger than us, though.
Yeah, things bigger than us.
Alright, moving on. You've got...
Yeah, we got the next game. So, Sydney versus GWS. It's a Saturday afternoon at the SCG. Very interesting game, this one. I think Sydney winning twice this year, I think will have an advantage for Sydney at stages, but I think the learnings that GWS probably get from those two games could hold them in good stead. There's not many times a team beats another team 3 times in the season, and this is Sydney's chance to, but I think the learnings and finals experience GWS have put them in really good stead in this game. What do you think, Gordo?
Yeah, I think the Giants have a real good mix of senior players and youth as well. Toby Green, I think, is going to be quite dangerous if he can get his hands on the footy. Yeah. You've got Packley coming back for the Swans too. If his ankle was 100%, watch out. Could be 2, 3, 4 goals for him.
100% agree. Papley's a really dangerous player in this game. He's one of those players that can really get momentum for Sydney throughout each quarter. And with the likes of Heaney, Goulden and Warner, that's going to be really dangerous in that midfield, especially if Papley can have those 10% bursts in the midfield and then go float back that 80 to 90% in the forward line. It's going to be crucial for them to kicking those goals.
Yeah, for sure. I'll touch on it more, but I think momentum is going to play a real factor in some of these games, especially in the next game coming up. But look at the likes of Sydney. They've gone even, or they've been behind in the first half. And then they come out and they play a really good patch of 8 to 10 minutes of footy, kick 3 or 4 goals, 5 goals, and all of a sudden they've got a game-winning margin. If that happens again, I just don't see how the Giants can overcome that, despite that awesome comeback against Hawthorn earlier in the year. That's
a really good point, Gordo. But also, I think GWS's best chance here is mainly in the forward line. I think if they can get Hogan another 3 to 4 goal bag, and also give the likes of Brent Daniels that opportunity to go in the midfield as well and push forward, I think that's going to be crucial for them to winning. So GWS has a really dangerous forward line, and you need to be able to win those centre clearances, as I said in the last game, to be able to get it to them. But that SCG home ground advantage is going to be crucial for Sydney with the fans. I think the likes of, as I said, Goulden and Warner, they'll get those inside 50s and play real havoc into GWS's chances in this game, though.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah. All right, moving on, last game of the round, but probably the biggest game of the round. We've got Brisbane versus Carlton. So 70% of the way through the year, you probably felt that these two teams were top 4 locks, and then they find themselves in a knockout final week 1. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Both teams, they match up quite well around the ground. So you feel like that momentum is going to be the thing that drags teams over the line in this one.
Yeah, 100% agree.
You've seen run-on bursts that have won games in the past, just like Sydney, and I think that this game could have it as well. You've got keys at either end of the ground. You've got Andrews and Danaher for Brisbane versus Wiedering and Curnow for Carlton. They shape up to be an exciting prospect for fans.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real good one. Brisbane have been excellent in defence all year, conceding on average 76 points compared to Carlton's 85.
Yeah.
I think that could be a difference in this one. They finished 5th and 8th respectively, and that probably does reflect where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my eye on Zach Bailey and Blake Acres. One from each team, 2 players who know how to kick goals to win games. Absolute clutch, those guys.
Really agree with that comment. I think Brisbane's ability to get the ball inside 50 is a real attribute to their gameplay. Like Neil, Dunkley, these types, they just are bulls in that midfield and just know how to get the ball forward, whether it's that repeat handballs and then getting those kicks inside 50. It really presents a dangerous opposition for Carlton. But in saying that, they do know how to kick behind. Scored 11-21 in the last game of the year. Doesn't present well leading into finals. And also they blew it against Collingwood as well due to inaccuracy at stages. So if Carlton's any chance in this game, Brisbane have to repeat that. They have to not have as many goals kicked, more behinds, and Carlton need to take their opportunities. I think for Carlton to win this game, you really have to kick a score that's about 70 to 80% goals and then 20 to 30% behinds, because at the Gabba, Brisbane know how to play that ground really well and they can get those repeat inside 50s. I don't think you're going to have as many inside 50s if you're Carlton in this game, so you really need to take your chances.
Yeah, certainly. Well, last time they met, Curnow kicked those 3 goals in 7 minutes in the third quarter. Like I said, momentum type feeling. That helped nullify Brisbane's lead of 30 points that they had at half-time, and the Blues went on to win by a point. Here's hoping that this meeting is just as exciting as the last.
I think it will be.
Yeah. For sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's a comprehensive wrap of the finals game. So what we have next is the tips, Gordo. So who are you backing this week and why?
Well, I'm sticking with the Cats in an upset on Thursday night versus Port Adelaide.
Interesting.
I'm tipping Hawthorn.
What's the margin of that game, sorry, Gordo? Geelong by how much?
Geelong by 8 points.
8 points, yeah.
Going Hawks again in a close one versus the Dogs.
Yeah.
Going 10 points in that one.
10 points.
Sydney versus GWS on Saturday, Arvo. I've got Sydney winning that one by a comfortable 20 points. You've seen the margin on average around that 24, 25 points.
Yeah. Going
Sydney by 20. And then we've got Carlton. I reckon they're going to get it done versus Brisbane. So you could say 3 upsets this week.
Interesting.
And then Sydney to beat the Giants.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Well, with all those, just on Carlton there, with all those ins, that could play a real role in that upset.
Absolutely.
So with Thursday night, I think Port Adelaide at home is going to win by 26 points. I think they'll just be too classy in that midfield. As I said, Geelong are a good chance if they break even, but I just feel like the likes of Butters and Rosie and Horne-Francis are just a bit too much. And then I'm sticking with you too on this one, Hawthorn by 6 points. It's going to be a really close game. I just feel like the home ground advantage is just going to get them over the line. And then next game we've got Sydney GWS. I think GWS is going to learn from these 2 losses in the year and they're going to win a close one by 3 points. I think GWS's finals experiences and Toby Green and Jesse Hogan will be those standouts to get them over the line. And then Brisbane Carlton, I just feel like Brisbane's classy midfield and the Gabba is just going to be a bit too much. And you could say an underdone Carlton depending on how much fitness there is in those injuries coming in to the team. So I think Brisbane by 21 points. So that's my tips for this week, Gordo, as well. So we'll move on. We'll go to the Brownlow medal next. So we're just going to move forward and give our finals predictions as well. So Brownlow first, what do you think?
I've got arguably the Brownlow favourite taking it on here, Marcus Bontempelli. Is going to win the Brownlow. What about yourself?
Brownlow medal. Oh, see, I think Marcus Bontempelli should win it, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be Nick Dacos. I think, well, not unfortunately, I just feel like he's just a bit more classy throughout Collingwood's season, he was a real standout, and Bond could get taken votes off the likes of Treloar. So I think Nick Dacos has been Collingwood's standout, and it's going to give him the most votes overall.
Makes you wonder though, has Collingwood won enough games, and has Dacos done enough in the games that they didn't win for him to take home enough votes to beat the likes of Cripps, Bond, and Heaney if Heaney is to win it?
Good call though. It'll be really interesting. It's pretty too close to call nearly, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. Well, we've got our finals MVP. So who do you think the best player of the AFL finals in 2024 is going to be? I've gone for Chad Warner as mine. I think Sydney are going to be a real chance in September.
Yeah.
I think even playing just the 3 games, if they are to win this week, he's going to be the absolute standout. You look at the likes of Petrarca, impact players who have sort of been these types of players in the past. I reckon Chad Warner presents a real opportunity to not only kick goals, but rack up the disposals as well.
I like the sound of that, Gordo. Well, my finals MVP, it's going to be a key forward. I'm going for Jesse Hogan from GWS. I think he's primed for this, Gordo. A massive Coleman year, the Coleman medal. I think he's just going to have that class in September. It's going to propel him that confidence, and he's going to get a run on against some teams. I saw a graphic during the week. I think key forwards don't normally play well in September constantly throughout the 4 weeks, but I feel like this year is going to be different, and I think it will be a Jesse Hogan year for finals MVP. Alright, next one. We're up to the Premiership. Who's going to win the Premiership for 2024, Gordo?
I'm tipping Sydney to win the Premiership this year. I can just see they've been the best team for the first 12, 13 rounds of the AFL season. I reckon they're a real chance of winning the flag here. They've just got to win 3 games. If they win the first, they get 2 at the SCG, and then they get to play on the MCG, where they were embarrassed against Geelong 2 years ago. I reckon they're a real chance of winning it.
Awesome, Gordo. I think that's a good prediction. And I'm sticking with the Sydney theme for the Premiership. I'm going the GWS Giants. I think they'll win that first one against Sydney, and then they'll get that home prelim, and it will be just a bit too much for the team on the other side of the draw to come on over to the Sydney Stadium that Giants play at as their home ground, and they'll get to the MCG full of experience from 2019, and they'll clutch up to win the flag this year. I think just Toby Green, he wants that flag so much, and that Giants team's so experienced in finals. It's going to all come together this year, and Adam Kingsley's going to win his first flag.
Well, it shapes up to be an exciting finals prospect. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll see you back next week for week 2 of Rem and Gordo 2024.
Have a good one, everyone. Cheers.